we are still waiting for the markets to hit an historic 20,000 point mark. So what will it take, and what will the economy look like under President Trump in 2017? Former finance and tax advisor for the Trump campaign, Steve Moore, joins me now. Steve, thanks for coming in. Good to see you.
Great to be with you.
You know, since the election night of November 8th, we've seen some huge changes in the stock market. First of all, when Trump was first elected, we saw a huge dive in the futures. I think it was 750 points, right? Yeah. And it prompted Paul Krugman at the New York Times, the economist there, to opine, and I'm quoting, "It really does now look like President Donald J. Trump and markets are plunging. When might we expect to see them recover?" A first pass answer is never. Well, as you well know, the markets did precisely the opposite of what Krugman predicted they would do. We're looking at the Dow up now 1,500 points since November 8th. That's an 8.2% gain. Yep. What caused that?
I think, by the way, Paul Krugman is almost always wrong. Every prediction he makes is wrong, so he just was being consistent and getting that wrong. Look, I think it's anticipation. I think businesses, consumers, and investors are very bullish on America right now. You saw what happened, Doug, today with 8,000 new jobs that are coming into the United States. You know, that's great stuff. And I think people are looking at the tax cuts that are coming. I think people are looking at the regulatory reforms, the pro-growth energy policy, and they're saying this is going to be a president who takes growth in business seriously, and I think that's why you've seen, you know, this dramatic increase in the Dow Jones. You know, it's been flirting with 20,000 now for a week or two, and every time we get right near that, it falls down a little bit. But, you know, look, I think you can read too much into the short-term increase in the Dow. There's real structural problems with this economy that Donald Trump is inheriting. The $10 trillion that he's added to the national debt, the fact that we've got a record number of people outside of the workforce, 44 million people on food stamps. I mean, I could go down the line. But this isn't going to be easy. I mean, the economy is in very fragile shape right now, I believe. Well,
this harkens back to the transition between the Carter administration and the Reagan administration, because there was tremendous enthusiasm about the transfer of power then, a great energy, a great excitement about it, but the implementation of policy was an entirely different thing.
That's right.
And I remember those ruthless battles. That was my first year in broadcasting in D.C., 1980, and it was rough and ruthless. You're going to be in for the same thing. I'm reminded of David Stockman, who was the OMB director at that time, in that infamous interview he did in Atlantic Magazine, in which he said, it's kind of hard to sell trickle down. None of us really understands what's going on with all of these numbers.
Well, we found out that what happened when those tax rates fell, when Reagan came into office, the highest income tax rate was 70%, Doug. Reagan cut them all the way down to 28%. We saw one of the biggest economic booms in this country's history. We had 1 month in 1983 where the economy created 1 million jobs in 1 month. Can you imagine if Barack Obama had done that? Or I'll give you another statistic. We had a number of quarters, 6, 7, even 8% growth. Those are China kind of numbers. And I think Trump is right that if we get the policies right, we can see 4 and 5% growth. A lot of economists say it's not possible. I'm saying it is. I think we can do this if we get the policies right on regulation and taxes.
But this is not going to be without obstacles along the way. In fact, Democratic leaders in the House and the Senate today are calling for a day of action on January 15th across the country, warning that congressional Republicans are going to ram through a budget bill to throw our health care system into chaos. These are just one of the many roadblocks you're going to face.
Well, Doug, I mean, what they're talking about is Obamacare, and if there's any referendum issue in this campaign, it's that Americans are fed up with Obamacare and they want it gone. So Obamacare is Obama gone. It will be repealed. And the challenge for Republicans, Doug, will be to create a new health care system that is cheaper, gives people more coverage, but also covers everybody. And that's a challenge. And I don't know if Republicans totally have their act together on that, but they're going to have to. We don't want to see people losing their health insurance coverage come, you know, the spring.
Okay, Steve, that's all the time we have. Appreciate your time. Good to see you. We look forward to fighting some of those battles ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.